I'm Irene with girltalksfish. If you've been on this channel before, you're probably pretty shocked to see how the tank looks. This was not on purpose, so let me give you the 2-year update. Now, I used to have a horribly black thumb, couldn't grow anything for the life of me. So for this 20-gallon high aquarium, I decided to buy every single beginner plant on the Aquarium Co-Op website and then focus on doing whatever it took to balance it, which is why I decided to call it the Back to Basics Planted Tank. I started off with these plants, which you can see labeled on screen. And then I moved in a bunch of fish from my previous 20-gallon setup, which included Soundwave, the elderly betta fish, hillstream loaches, a peacock gudgeon, autocinklus, etc., etc. I also bought several Amano shrimp and a school of dwarf chain loaches. I wanted as many algae eaters and cleanup crew members as possible. 3 months later, let's just say I was in the middle of a major battle against algae, so there was a lot of plant casualties in the process. I ended up replacing them with even more beginner plants like water sprite, Pogostemon stellatus octopus, and a dwarf aquarium lily. Since this is a community tank, a lot of fish from my 10-gallon breeding projects ended up getting dumped here. So first off was my Dalmatian balloon molly juveniles, which were great because I discovered that a lot of light bearers are actually excellent algae eaters. Look at them go. This is also when I added the orphan dwarf platy Mio, whose mom died in quarantine. Do you guys remember baby Mio? So cute. Check out the video. Eventually, Soundwave passed away of old age, so I replaced him with a beautiful mustard gas betta named Sonic as the new centerpiece of my community tank. And then the Dalmatian balloon mollies got replaced with even more dwarf red coral platies because, I don't know, I find the red coloration to be really striking against all that greenery. Unfortunately, something about their color drove Sonic absolutely nuts, so he got moved to his own 5-gallon bachelor pad, and he's been a complete drama llama ever since, so I recorded his saga over here. As for plants, I had finally balanced the tank, so the plants were growing like crazy, especially the Panagitan. Like, my tank is only 16 inches long, and it grew 26 inches tall with my first ever aquarium flower. Ooh. But yeah, it was totally taking over the tank, so I ended up giving it to my local fish store. With Sonic out of the picture, it was time for a new centerpiece. No more bettas, I'm gonna try dwarf gouramis. So if you saw my betta versus dwarf gourami video, it's like a 50-50 chance that the dwarf gourami will go ballistic on you. I would say Unicron's a bit of a food bully, but otherwise definitely not the worst I've seen. The dwarf chain loaches got moved out and replaced with coolie loaches because Gamer Boy said he really missed them. And this is also when I added my first mystery snail ever, Sunstreaker. And this is when I kind of started neglecting this tank for a while. My passion for the hobby was in a waning period, so I just let that Pogostemon stellatus grow out of control into a thick jungle, and then eventually it got outcompeted by an army of floating water sprite. This is around the time I added the pygmy cories at this point because I was done breeding them, but then I noticed that they were kind of getting outcompeted by food because of the zillions of breeding platies, so I ended up rehoming the live bearers. I mean, I kept one, and I think he's most likely one of Mio's babies, so his name is officially Neo. He is just as ravenous as Unicron, so in a way, I think he's helping Unicron lose weight because they chase each other around so much during meal times. Now, because this tank is balanced and densely planted, I rarely have to do any water changes, which is why several weeks passed before I noticed the dreaded duckweed. If you can believe it, I have never had to deal with duckweed before, but I guess it hitchhiked on one of the new plants I bought, and it infiltrated all of that beautiful floating water sprite. I was completely distraught. Like, I couldn't even speak to my family all the way to church. But you know me, I am team kill it with fire when it comes to pest snails or anything invasive, so I went with the scorched earth policy. None of this careful netting or using a turkey baster to remove it. I basically got rid of all that beautiful water sprite and then watched the tank like a hawk for any more hidden assailants. It's been about a month since the original attack, and I haven't seen any other signs of duckweed. The Pogostem installatus is now making a comeback because it actually has access to light, but then all the low light plants are starting to get coated with algae despite the lowered lighting. So my next steps are to get more floating plants to act as shade, possibly some redroot floaters. Despite this recent tragedy, I'm actually kind of glad I was forced to remove this jungle. I mean, Mr. Gamer, he thinks it looks a little better because he can actually see the fish and plants in there, and I kind of agree with him as well. I've started taking more interest in the tank. The only problem is there are 8 cardinal tetras in there, which Mr. Gamer picked to replace the platies, and they're pretty shy. So if you have any suggestions, let me know down in the comments because I would love to see more of them. Also, thank you to Jeff from Texas Fish Room. It was really great meeting you at Aquashella Dallas, and thank you so much for the shirt. As well as thank you to Carlos for the Anubias Nana Pinto. This is one of the few times I've ever tried a tissue culture plant, so we shall see how it does. All right, you guys, take time to enjoy your aquariums, and I'll see you in the next video.